Good evening and welcome to Prime Time in the ATL, powered by the Stables Network. ATL Prime Sports here. I'm your host, JJ, doing this thing solo dolo tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope we all are well. I hope the show is going on right now. I have no clue. I'm just going to go ahead and start talking. Please feel free to chime in. 678-280-7123 is the call-in number. Looks like we're still getting the hang of this thing. My internet wanted to kick me off my my own internet tonight. AT&T, you suck. I hate you. If I didn't have to use your product, I wouldn't want to ever again. You're terrible. That's my start of the show today. Lots to cover. Dave Cohen joins the show to talk Panthers hoops. Kyle Shanahan has a shot at another Super Bowl, Braves baseball, and more right here on ATL Prime Sports. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, please, again, feel free to chime in, 678-280-7123. Follow us on Twitter at ATL Prime Sports, Instagram too, at Quarter Todd. For me, at JJ Get You One, at Mancini Sports, and at ATL Traffic Lady, and of course, always at Stables Network as well. Follow us there. Let's go ahead and kick things off. I'm doing well, but I can't say the same for the Kansas and Kansas State basketball programs. Kansas won the game last night, but the game ended in a brawl, which saw 4 players get suspended. Kansas had Sylvia D'Souza. He got the 12 game. He was the infamous picker-upper of the chair. David McCormick on Kansas got canned for 2 games. Kansas State suspensions involved James Love at 8 games and Antonio Gordon at 3 games. This is probably the craziest thing I have ever seen in college basketball. Very similar to kind of a Malice in the Palace situation. It went into the stands. Fans weren't involved, but they were definitely affected. Saw fans flying. Punches being thrown. It's probably one of the most hideous things I've ever seen, again, in college basketball history. Didn't look good for either program. You have Kansas competing for a national championship. May lose some players that could very well impact that run. So that's huge news in the sports world. Zion going over to the NBA. Zion Williams making his NBA debut tonight versus the Spurs and Coach Greg Popovich. It's got to be the most anticipated debut of a player since LeBron James in 2003. This player, teams were accused of tanking for Zion, recovering from a knee injury. This should be very interesting. I'm anxious to see what this kid can do. I shouldn't say kid. This young athlete could do with the basketball in his hands for the New Orleans Pelicans. This is an organization that's begging for some attention in the postseason, have a good postseason run. They need it. They deserve it. I'm looking forward to what Zion can do in a Pelicans jersey. It would have been really fun to see what Anthony Davis and him could have done together had they been able to stay together. Shifting over to the NFL, lots of headlines today. No more Eli Manning. Eli Manning hangs up his cleats, retiring after 16 season. No Manning in the NFL for the first time in 2+ decades. That's saying something. It's a lot of my life I've had a Manning on the football field, at least in the NFL. And, it's been most of my life. I've watched Manning from college, whether it be at Tennessee or Ole Miss, all the way on up. So this is going to be an interesting football season here in the seasons to come. Another big piece of news, UGA football making all the right hires, hired local product. Buster Faulkner went to high school at Parkview High School in Lilburn, Georgia. Was honored to say I played high school football with his brother. His brother Todd was my quarterback my sophomore season, eliminated by Noonan. Dadgummit. But, hey, Buster, hats off to you. I'm glad you got the job. I'm glad you're back home. It's going to force a couple of the family members to root for the Bulldogs, which is a good thing. So I'm all for it. Buster Faulkner, congratulations. UGA also got the commitment they were looking for from the 2021 class. 5-star quarterback Brock Vandegrift, 6'3", 200 pounds, local product, grew up right out of Athens in Bogart, Georgia, about 20 minutes away, if that, maybe even closer, I've been told. Looking like he will be able to compete for the job in 2 years. Obviously, Jamin Newman will be gone and graduated from the University of Georgia, or whatever degree he does go on to pick up. We'll get to our callers here in a minute. Got Dave Cohen join us here in a little bit. We're going to talk some Panthers hoops. We'll get to our callers after Dave Cohen. So Georgia's moving in the right direction. This is the third ESPN 300 commitment in the 2021 class for Georgia so far. They moved up a bunch of spots in the rankings that honestly mean nothing until the last signing day. So that's going to be fun to see where Brock and his future plays out in Athens between the hedges. Lots going on in the sports world today, folks. Lots going on. Give us your thoughts, 678-280-7123. We'll get to our callers after our first guest, Dave Cohen, comes on. We're thinking of TC tonight. TC was not feeling well, so we're thinking of TC right now as well. Might as well, while we got some time to kill before Dave comes on, we'll jump on to the phone lines and we'll go to our ATL Prime Sports hotline. We got Lou from the Enhanced Sports Show. Lou's on the line. Lou, what you got for us tonight?
Hey, thanks, JJ. Well, I don't know how your Falcons fans are going to react to this, but Eli is calling it quits.
Yeah,
after
man.
16 years.
Yeah, I was just briefly talking about it before you hopped on the line. I don't know if you heard me. I was just talking about how impressive of a career both Mannings had, and in general, Manning's not going to be on the football field for the first time in like 22 seasons by my math. I didn't major in that, so don't hold me to it. But I think it's the first time since 98 or 99, whichever year Peyton made his debut. 99. So, yeah, there it is.
No, 98. You're 98. Sorry, 98.
Yeah, but regardless, unbelievable career. I know a lot of people trashed him at the end, but, Lou, I really, looking back on his career as a whole, he beat Brady twice, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. That's very rare air. Only 4 other players have that as a statistic. He played on a lot of mediocre Giants teams, and I don't know if it was necessarily Eli being bad or just a mediocre Giants team. And I think that he falters a lot of the credit on that, or takes a lot of the blame, I should say, and I don't think he necessarily is deserving of it.
Well, he did have some mediocre years, especially now late in his career.
Sure.
But I think, they're showing signs of age and whatnot. And he didn't want to say, he didn't want to be a backup, or as I say, second banana to Jones or Fred or anybody for the league. So I think you might find some, but I think he's doing the right thing by retiring now.
I agree. Seeing Eli in any other uniform than a New York Giants in that blue would have been weird. To me, it was still weird seeing.
Well, to us.
Yeah, for us in general. Yeah, for everybody. I mean, I don't think anybody pictured Manning in another uniform. I didn't picture his brother in a Denver uniform until he won the Super Bowl.
Right.
So,
well, what about when Montana went to Kansas City?
Say that again?
Well, Montana went from the 49ers to the Chiefs. Yeah,
that was crazy too. That was a little prior to my time. I do remember the move. I was young. But yeah, that was a crazy move too. A lot of people question that trade, but you had Steve Young in the wings there in the back, so that was an easy transition for 49ers fans. But this is going to be something that's unique. Again, no Manning on the field for the first time since 98, 99, whichever you want to put it, when he was drafted, wherever you want to go there. But it's going to be fun. Well, Lou, I want to ask you about a debut tonight. What do you think about Zion? And, man, this is the most anticipated debut since LeBron, huh?
Yeah. Well, got to put your money where your mouth is. I'm not convinced until I see what happens on the court, on the field. You know what I mean? I mean, all the hype that's surrounding him. and he might get, those nerves at first. So we'll just see what happens. But the Pelicans have turned their season around, without him. I mean, they started off lousy, like 1-24 or whatever, or 6-22, but they have really turned their season around right now, and maybe with Zion's presence, that could, help them prevail in the Western Conference.
Yeah, they're an up and coming team. They got a lot of talent, including Zion and Brandon Ingram, built around that team. If they can stay healthy, they can make some moves down in the near future and maybe build a small powerhouse down there. They got a lot of young talent. It's going to be fun to watch. Lou, what else you got for us, man?
I heard something a few weeks ago that one of your boys from Atlanta got himself in a lot of trouble, if I'm not mistaken.
Which one?
I forget. I think it was on the Hawks.
Chandler Parsons?
Chandler Parsons, that's it.
Yeah, he didn't get in trouble. He actually got hit by a drunk driver.
That's right, yeah.
Awful. Is currently in the process of suing, and it may end his career. There's some severe whiplash.
Yeah.
Some spinal cord injuries, it looks like, with this. He was concussed. Looks like it was a lot worse wreck than originally thought. When I first heard it sounded like concussion. Maybe he bumped his head. And that was a little bit it. But no, he comes out. He's got a lawsuit going. There's a drunk driver. Could be a big issue, and that could be the end of Chandler Parsons. We will see. Hopefully it isn't. The Hawks.
I hope not, but I think all points indicate that his career is over.
Yeah, he's had a lot of up and down injuries in his career, and boy, that's not one you want to add to the list. But yeah,
what do you
Chandler Parsons was in a car wreck.
Yeah. What do you make of NFL players retiring at an earlier age now than more than ever before?
I think it's smart, Lou.
Yeah.
I think it's smarter. I think the NFL has so much money, they need to give these players more. I know it's only 16 games, owners, but the repercussions.
Oops, it took too long.
I know they haven't seen. I have no clue on what type of parameters you should set for first versus seventh round draft picks. But let's get these guys some money. Let's let them. If they make your roster, your opening day roster from the first day of the draft, you should compensate them well. I understand if after 1 or 2 years a first round draft pick fizzles out, maybe not, but get these guys bigger contracts up front so they can have a career after the NFL. I hope these players who are leaving college early are graduating once they're in the NFL and they're able to rebound. But I think it's smart, Lou. I think it's smart to retire early. The NFL needs to come up with better pension plans so that players don't have to work as long once they're retired. And it's a smart move. It's honestly a smart move. Do I like it as a football player formerly in high school? No, but it's smart. It's the smart move to do.
I'll give you that. I just thought, do you think that it's hurting the NFL or is it helping them? Because some people say that it's good for the league, and others say, what are you, nuts?
I think it's 50-50. I think you could split that thing
right down
the middle. Because I'm on the other hand, like I said, do I like it? No. I wish players could play longer, but it's the smart thing to do. If I was a player, I'd probably be stubborn-headed. This is me speaking as I love to play. I tore up my knee, wasn't able to fulfill my college opportunity to play Division III football. So to me, it was there. I wanted to play, but hey, that was it. That was different times. The medical science has come around now, so some players are on the other side of that. They say I'm going to play till I can't cash a check anymore. So like I said, I'm split down the middle. I think it's smart. I just think the NFL, in order to keep players longer, they need to give them more money if they are performing earlier. So maybe make these rookie contracts instead of 3 or 4 years, maybe make them 2 or 3 years.
That's a smart move.
And then they can.
I would say 2 years.
Wow, I just got some breaking news. Antonio Brown has been wanted. He has been issued a warrant, has been issued for Antonio Brown's arrest after a burglary and a battery incident Tuesday in Florida. Wow. Folks, this is going to get juicy. I'll give you the details as I get them. Lou, let's shout your show out real quick, man. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to go on to another topic, and we're going to get to Dave eventually. Shout out your show and your number, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, first of all, it's an hour earlier now. We're from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's still called the Enhanced Sports Show, or the new Enhanced Sports Show, the case may be. 5 to 7 p.m., and the number is 512-543-4662. I'll repeat that, 512-543-4662, and you do not need a pound sign to call in.
We like it. We're moving along. We're moving away from the pound sign too, buddy. Lou, good to hear from you, man. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, JJ.
Yes, sir. Lou from the Enhanced Sports Show. Always love what Lou brings to the table when he calls in. We're going to move on. I'm sure Dave will be joining us shortly on the ATL Prime Sports hotline. Let's go to our second topic of the evening. Super Bowl 54 is here. It sounds weird to say that. It seems like we were just at 50. Kyle Shanahan's getting another shot at the Lombardi Trophy, but this time as a head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. Should he receive question about his play calling as a Falcon OC in the epic Super Bowl meltdown? That's the question. It's only me tonight, so I'm going to answer it. Duh. Yeah, he should definitely have to answer those questions. I want to hear every single answer he gets from every single one of those questions. And I hope he answers them thoroughly and effectively. Because I still remember that backpack going missing, Kyle Shanahan, for 90 minutes prior to Super Bowl, 50? I still remember it, Kyle. Now I'm just playing about the backpack. But he did lose his backpack that game. He did have some subjective play calls in the latter parts of the fourth quarter, especially on a 2nd and 1, inside plus territory. Drops back for a pass, sacked, 3rd and long, holding penalty, out of field goal range, strip sack. That was the equation that honestly lost the Super Bowl for the Atlanta Falcons, and it was Kyle Shanahan's play calling. Yes, he deserves every single question from that Super Bowl. He should answer every single question, again, very thoroughly and very realistically. He may be over it, but Falcons fans are not over it. And they may never be. 28-3, the largest meltdown in a championship in professional sports history in America. I don't know about the world, but that is unbelievable. That doesn't get – you don't just blow a 25-point lead in the second half. So, yeah, he does deserve those that skepticism. He has to answer every question. He's got to prove that he can win the big game as a big guy, as the man. Tevin Coleman's going to be questionable in the game. It's going to be fun to see how these coaches react to one another. It's going to be, to me, this has all the makings of being a high-scoring shootout of a Super Bowl. But it also has the makings of each team could get after the quarterback extremely well and neutralize each other's offenses. We'll see what happens. I'm leaning towards the Kansas City Chiefs as we speak, but that may change. It's really tough to go right now. Right now, spread is -1 in favor of KC. The over/under in that game is 54.5. So again, I think they're gonna go with the high scoring. I think each team will score almost 30 points there. It's going to be a fun Super Bowl to watch. You got the Pro Bowl this weekend before the Super Bowl. That's lost a lot of luster, so don't forget about that one if you want to tune into some football this week. Then you got the Big Daddy next Sunday. It'll be 6:30 p.m. on the 2nd. Fox is airing the game. Andy Reid's got another shot at a title. Kyle Shanahan's got a shot at his first as a head coach. Lots of storylines to go. It's Jimmy G, who passed for just under 4,000 yards in the regular season, versus Patrick Mahomes, who threw for just over 4,000 yards. To be honest, they had very similar touchdown numbers. Season leading, Garoppolo threw more touchdown passes than Mahomes, 27 to 26. 13 interceptions for Garoppolo, which is a little on the higher side. Mahomes, 5 interceptions, very accurate with the football. Again, Raheem Mostert, Williams, they're going to be key factors in this game. Who can extend the chain? Who can get those convert on second down, third down and short? Who's going to extend the chains? Who's going to keep the ball longer? I think possession is going to matter in this game. Right now, a lot of people, again, are leaning Kansas City's way. San Francisco, if they can run the ball effectively, it's going to be a very similar game plan for the Chiefs to stop San Francisco. You got to stop the run. You got to limit the run. You limit the 49ers offense. On the opposite side, the 49ers have to get after Patrick Mahomes. Bosa's going to have to wreak havoc. They're going to have a strip sack. This game really reminds me of the high potent offense of Carolina coming in versus the getting after the quarterback all-world defense led by Von Miller and the Denver Broncos with Peyton Manning's last hurrah. This really reminds me of one of those type of games. You have Patrick Mahomes, the young quarterback up and coming, as Cam Newton was then. Now you have Jimmy Garoppolo, who's the seasoned veteran, who's been to Super Bowls, sure as a backup, but he's been there. Trust me, that means something. This game's a coin flip for me right now. If you're a betting man like myself, gun to my head, I'm picking the Chiefs. But that's not my pick right now. Gun to my head right now. That's gun to my head right now. Folks, feel free to chime in. Let us know what you think. 678-280-7123. We have still not yet heard from Dave Cohen. That's no worries, though. I'm sure Dave will either A, join us soon, or B, give us a reason as to why he couldn't join. He's a busy man, voice of the Georgia State Panthers. Let's go to our third topic for the evening. The Braves, lots of off-season moves, have added Marcell Ozuna to a one-year, $18 million deal. They also added a savvy pitcher from the past in Felix Hernandez for a one-year, $1 million minor league deal. What do these moves mean for the Braves, and what do you think of the moves? Well, they're good moves. But are they going to get the Braves to the World Series with them? I don't know. They can. Sure, they certainly can. Ozuna's a bat. He's your fourth. He's definitely your cleanup guy. His best season was Josh Donaldson's plus a little bit more last year. His best season with Marlins, I believe, 314, 312 batting average, 114-ish RBIs, 37 yaks. That's what we're going to need. That's what the Braves are going to need from you. Ozuna's going to have to make or break the Braves. He will. Folks, he will make or break the Braves. Mark my words. He will either be the most valuable or the least valuable player on that roster. And I'll tell you why. Josh Donaldson, you don't walk Freddie Freeman to get to Josh Donaldson with runners in scoring position. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs, let's say second and third, for first base is open. Folks, they're walking Freddie Freeman. And they're going to pitch to Marcell Ozuna. Why? He strikes out 1 million times a season. Obviously not 1 million. I think it was like 100 plus times last year. 89 RBIs last year, 241 average, 29 yaks, $18 million. Is that worth it? I think so. Again, I think it is a good move. But will it win the Braves the World Series? We'll find out. He's going to make or break it. I think the better move is honestly signing Felix Hernandez. King Felix. Catch lightning in a bottle with this. You fulfill your pitching staff. You're going to get innings. You're going to get a veteran. It's going to maybe get a league change. A little less power in the National League. a little more base running, maybe that changes him. Maybe that saves his career. So I think Felix Hernandez is honestly a better signing. Signing, maybe not move, signing. Why? Because he, again, lightning in a bottle, cheap, former top of the line pitcher, former ace. He comes in, he can mentor these guys. Again, Soroka, Ian Anderson, all the young guys. He can help. That right-handed pitcher, it's always good to have in mind. Be like Bartolo Colon a couple of years ago. Solid innings. It's going to be fun to watch this team this year. But Marcell Ozuna will make or break the Braves. Mark my words. Make or break the Braves. Marcell Ozuna. Folks, ATL Prime Sports here. Solo dolo tonight. ATL traffic lady Stephanie Stallworth couldn't make it. Todd Quarter feeling a little ill, still getting better. Battling every day. We're praying for Todd Quarter tonight. Folks, let's go to the ATL Prime hotline. We got Wayne, one of our favorite callers, on the line. I'm going to get right to you, Wayne, this week. Wayne, what you got, man?
Oh, nothing, man. College basketball is the main thing I want to talk about, but I also want to talk a little bit about NBA rookies.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, the college basketball, the big story from yesterday, of course, is the Kansas State brawl, which should have never happened. And I really think there's some players that ought to have some suspensions, probably beyond 2 or 3 games. The only thing that really bothered me about that was the brawl extended into the area where the disabled people usually sit. And that's not a very good PR thing at all.
No. And, Wayne, you're a big college basketball fan. You've been watching it longer than I have. Have you ever seen – I have not seen anything like that in a college basketball game in my lifetime.
Yeah. You hadn't watched enough Cincinnati Xavier games.
Yeah, well, that's true. I do remember those. Now, I do remember that my father told me about those. And then the Georgetown St. John's games got pretty deep there too. And there was also some tension between John Chaney and John Calipari when Calipari was up there at UMass, between UMass and Temple. Temple, not it was Georgetown and Temple, not St. John's. But yes, thank you. But yeah, what a incident. I personally, I'm not pointing blame at anything, but why didn't Coach Self just scream at the guy, just let him score? I mean, why did just let the guy score? I know you didn't like the fact that he stole it, but you got 22 points. Let the guy score and move on. You got to like it was like 10 seconds left in the game in a 2-point game. Stood over him. Yeah, well,
there's an atmosphere at certain college university basketball programs, and I think that some of the pressure comes from administration as well as boosters. There is a lot of tension at Indiana on the basketball program, and a lot of coaches get up there, and you think, oh, Bobby Knight, he's this real fiery guy. There's been coaches after him that have had the same issues, and I think it's because of the pressure. I think Bill Self is under pressure from boosters, administration, and that pressure is spilled over into how he coaches and how his atmosphere with the team. If you look at other schools, there's a relaxed atmosphere, and they'll be up by 20, by 15 into the game. They'll just tell them, hey, we got 15 seconds, just dribble it out. There's no, and if you watch Penny Hardaway on the sidelines, you'll hardly ever see him lose his cool. He'll stand there, arms folded, arms by his side, while the other coaches tend to get a little bit more excited. And he creates an atmosphere where even if we're down by 20, the players are still trying because the atmosphere is they're trying to impress him and impress the fans and impress each other. Whereas I think other schools have a lot of tension, and Kansas State, there's probably an atmosphere that's put on the coaches, and the coach spills over onto the players, and then you end up with incidents like that. Same thing with Cincinnati, Xavier, what used to go on at Temple, at UMass, and some SEC teams. The coach, it kind of controls it, but you've got to understand that coach is under a lot of stress sometimes from boosters and administration.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a stain on college basketball right now. To fill you in, Wayne, they did give out 4 suspensions total. It was James Love of Kansas State and Antonio Gordon. Love got 8 games. Gordon got 3. De Sosa got 12 games for Kansas, and David McCormack got 2 games. Personally, I think there should probably have been a couple indefinite, maybe full season suspensions there. That was very bad. You see the fans in the video, folks. If you haven't seen it, you can YouTube it. You can Google it. Just put Brawl versus Kansas versus Brawl Kansas versus Kansas State. You'll find it. I retweeted it, I believe, on the Twitter pages. And like you said, once it went into the disabled, the handicap stands, it got kind of scary. You also saw fans who were smart telling the players to calm down and kind of push them. And you were talking about that atmosphere. That's a fan knowing, hey, this guy could mean something to us. Push him back on the court, get him away from this. You can see the resentment from some of the fans, like, what is going on? I can't believe this is happening. The game's over. Well, why?
Yeah.
And you go back, you credit the referees for doing their jobs and staying until the end. This thing, who knows how bad this could have gotten if the referees, if this happened 5 seconds, 6 seconds later, the referees are at the scorer's table. So,
well, I'll say this, that having been at the FedEx Forum for all of Memphis home games, the FedEx Forum, being a professional NBA arena, employs a lot of security that's strictly from the FedEx Forum. And I think because that particular venue was a campus venue, they probably didn't have the level of security that someplace like Memphis or some other schools that play in an NBA market have. There's no possible way that you'll ever see fans either running onto the court after a game or a brawl like that happen in Memphis, simply because there is a lot of security that you don't see if you watch on TV. You'd have to be there at the arena to see it.
Yeah,
and so even if the tension got that high here in Memphis, it could not break out into something like that.
Absolutely. There's one other school that who is it plays in Madison Square Garden? Are they used to? Is it St. John's or St. Joe's or St. John's? They used to play in Madison Square Garden. So, but yeah,
it could be St. John's.
FedEx Forum, it's an international arena. They have international superstars performing there. So yeah, that top of the line security, I think that does aid to it. You're right. The coach makes all the difference. This could have been prevented if just the coaches called a timeout, said, hey, if this happens, let them score.
Right.
Sometimes you even see that in key situations, and you see in the first round of the NCAA tournament all the time. First round, first seeds will be up on 16 seeds by 30 points. You'll see them call the timeout with about a minute left. Say, hey, if they steal the ball from you, do not foul. Just let them score. Do the fast break, put it in, and that's probably what they say. Now, I don't know if that's what they say, but it's got to be something similar to that.
Apart from all that, the only other college basketball thing is Memphis plays Tulsa tonight at Tulsa. It comes on right after y'all show, so I'll be getting prepared for that. Right. And the other thing was the NBA Rookie of the Year. I really think that player from Memphis Grizzlies, Morant, I really think he's got the shoe in for that. I don't know if y'all disagree with me. Now we're going to see how Zion Williams does playing with the Pelicans. I think they played tonight. But I think that he's got so much ground to make up having missed so much of the season.
It'll be tough. It'll be tough. We'll have to pay attention and see what happens.
Right. Well, if you look up Morant's statistics this year, and you'll see why I really think his name should be mentioned anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. John Morant's been, honestly, if he was in the Eastern Conference, he'd probably have a lot more All-Star votes. But he is in the Western Conference with the mean, the green, the LeBrons, the ADs, the Zions, the Brandon Ingrams, everybody out west is just jumbled up. And I was talking to a guy in the sauna the other day at the end of the workout, and I was looking, and I won't keep you long, Wayne. The NBA ratings are down this year, and I was surprised at how much. And I was kind of asking guys, what do you think? And I personally think it's the abundance of scoring. I think people are getting tired of no defense. But one gentleman said it's because LeBron's in the West, and you can't watch any of the games, and the population's on the East. And that may just be as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, there's a possibility that, they reorganized the NFL and got Atlanta, thankfully, out of the NFC West and put them in this new division called the NFC South. Maybe the NBA needs to start thinking about dividing up theirs into maybe 4. Have a Northeast, a South, a Northwest, and a West.
I agree.
And maybe try to work it where they can spread around some of the TV time, make it the playoffs slightly different. And it would get Memphis out of the West and put us into the South if they were to realign it that way.
But
that.
Absolutely.
That kind of plays into my choice of the Super Bowl. I know you were talking about that earlier. I really have to go for Kansas. I have to go for Kansas City because I cannot, under any circumstance, pull for San Francisco. They used to be in the same division as Atlanta, and they hurt my feelings too often.
Yeah, they did. And a game I remember was one of the last years they were in our division was that 98 NFC Championship team, Wayne. And
right.
Do you remember we played them in the divisional round, and I think we had lost to them twice or once that year at least. Yeah, once. Yeah. And I remember there was a controversial call in that game that didn't go the Falcons' way. Luckily, we still won the game. But it would have been a bigger margin of victory. Chuck Smith had a fumble and ran it back for a touchdown. It wasn't called. Then the next year, challenging came around. The Music City Miracle happened. So, I'm kind of with you. I'm leaning towards the Chiefs. Mainly for me, I think Mahomes can neutralize Bosa with the way he throws the football. His baseball background, Todd and I were talking about that off air. His baseball background allows him to be able to drop the elbow, throw it from his side, bring it over the top, throw it over top with touch, and he can throw it straight sidearm or even underhand. I've seen him make several throws, no-look passes. I think that's an X factor. I think he'll make a throw, and I think they'll probably win that game by a field goal. I think Harrison Butker, local Georgia Tech product, is going to kick a game-winning field goal. I think it's going to go down to the last second. I think it'll want to be the best Super Bowls ever. I really do. I think this is poised to be a really good game.
Well, I hope that Kansas City's defense can get wise to some of these college schemes that San Francisco likes to use. I saw some things that appeared to be jet sweeps and even some wildcat maneuvers from San Francisco. So I hope that Kansas City is ready to somehow counteract that or be prepared for it.
I think there will be. Well, Wayne, as always, we appreciate your phone call. Thanks for everything you do.
All right.
Enjoy the basketball game. Go Tigers, and we'll be retweeting, man, keeping our viewers informed of the Memphis Tigers.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, and y'all have a good rest of your show.
Hey, thanks, Wayne. Absolutely.
Right,
Wayne from Memphis, Tennessee, one of our great callers. One of our several great callers. Got a bunch of them tonight. Lou and Wayne, thanks for calling, guys. We were talking about the Braves and what they added before Wayne called in. It's kind of giving you my rundown on what I thought the Ozuna trade signing meant, and how big of an impact that's going to have on the Atlanta organization. I do think Marcell Ozuna will be the make or break player for the Braves. If the Braves get over the hump and get to the National League Championship Series, I think he'll have a big part to do with it. If they don't, that'll also be a big part. And here's why. Ozuna hit 429 with 2 home runs for the St. Louis Cardinals in their 5-game series against the Braves. It's 429, 2 home runs, 5 games in the division series. If he can put that into a season, the Braves have a sweet lineup. I mean, folks, you're looking at a projected lineup, something like this. Something unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. So you're gonna see, let's go, Ronald Acuna leading off, Ozzie Albies second, Freddie Freeman third. You're gonna see Marcell Ozuna batting fourth. Markakis or Duvall, whoever's playing that day, will bat fifth. Austin Riley will probably bat sixth. Swanson 7, and then you can fill in the blank. You'll have, again, Duvall there. You'll have the center fielder. You could possibly see Inciarte. You could see a bunch of players come in there. So I think Marcell Ozuna is going to have to play a significant role in this team. I think Austin Riley and Johan Camargo are going to play big-time roles on this team. Austin Riley will be playing his natural position at third base. He won't have to worry about the defensive side of the ball. He won't have to worry about botching a ball in left field or being a liability out there. He'll be playing the hot corner. I think that's got to be good for him. It's got to calm him down. If you learn how to hit the breaking ball, great. We saw what he can do to a fastball. He jacks it out of the park every time. Can he hit that off-speed pitch? Marcell Ozuna, huge signing. Felix Hernandez, big signing. They catch lightning in a bottle with him. Very, very good signing. Nothing happens. He fades out. He retires. Still same thing. Fades into the wind, $1 million in a Major League Baseball contract. That's nothing. So, again, Braves, big moves. Will they get over the hump? Marcell Ozuna will be the key there. Final thoughts on the Braves. Going back, sticking with baseball, it's right around the corner, spring training. And I pause because we're about to talk about the Astros again. Should the Astros players issue an apology or just move forward? Personally, should just move forward. Don't say a thing to me. Now, I don't know how other fans are, but an apology isn't going to take away the championship. Isn't going to take away the fact that they cheated. Isn't going to take away the fact that they hindered the game to the best of their ability. And folks, sure, take it from Alex Wood, who tweeted out, I'd much rather face a juiced-up batter than a batter that knows what pitch is coming and where. And I stand all by that. Stand by it 100%. They cheated. It's tainted. Red Sox too. This is proven. This isn't allegations. This is proven. Proven. They cheated the game of baseball. They cheated the integrity of the game. They didn't take a performance-enhancing drug off the field and strike out 100 times to hit 50 home runs. No, they put themselves in a strategic advantage by using technology in the dugout to relay signs to the batters in the batter's box. It is proven that when the trash can was hit, 3 things were certain: the pitch, the tendency of that pitcher in that situation, and the location, folks. Takes away the surprise of a breaking ball now, doesn't it? There's also video out there, very compelling. Jose Altuve facing Aroldis Chapman, that so-called amazing year. 100-mile-an-hour fastball, followed by an 84-mile-an-hour nasty slider. Everybody flinches. Not Altuve, not the Astros. Watched it go in the dirt because they knew it was coming. That's cheating, folks. That's cheating. Now, this is professional sports, and they're not going to take away the championship. But they should. They should just not have a champion that year. The Dodgers didn't win it. No. Both times they failed. So you can't give it to them. Because there probably were people or players on that team that weren't participating. It's a slippery slope. Don't apologize. Move forward. Still not going to matter to me. I'm going to remember this till the day I die. This will be the most tainted championship in the history of sports, in my opinion. The most tainted. Cheating like this is uncalled for. I'd rather have everybody have a positive HGH steroid test 100 times over. I don't care if they piss test him every game after 162. He failed 162 drug tests for HGH, but the guy went out there and had a 213 average with 60 home runs. That doesn't bother me. Because 80% of the time, player's not effective. This is embarrassing to me because, again, I mentioned it to TC off the air. This team was good enough to win without this nonsense, without this BS. But no, they had to go cheat, use technology to gain an extra advantage that you already had. You had Garrett Cole, Verlander, Altuve, Springer, McCann. An unbelievable lineup, an unbelievable manager. You didn't need to do it. You still probably would have gone 6 or 7 games and gotten the W in the World Championship. It's tainted. I don't like it. They should give up the championship. No apology necessary. But they won't. They won't give up the championship. They're going to issue an apology. And it's just going to sound rubbish to me. Jose Altuve predicts they'll be in the World Series again. What do they got? Binoculars? What are they going to do this time? You can't tell me that that's a clean championship team. You can't tell me that they're the 2017 champs. You can't tell me that anymore. I don't believe it. They're not my champion. They cheated. Cheated the game. They cheated the fans. It's a crying shame. It's a crying shame. There's going to be more to this. This is going to finger out. You've already seen managers get canned, allegations coming up here, coming up there. This is going to be juicy till the season starts, until baseballs are thrown and baseballs are hit out of the ballpark. Till a game is won by one single team, till a postseason game that is won by somebody besides the Astros. This will be tainted on Major League Baseball. It's terrible, folks. This probably is my favorite sport to keep up with. I love watching football, but do I love keeping up with baseball as much as I love football? Absolutely nothing close on baseball stats. I love running the stats. But now I look at those stats on that 2017 roster and I go, how many of those hitters knew what was coming? How often did they know it was coming? How many games did they win because they were put at an extra advantage? That's what I want to know. I want answers, Major League Baseball. I don't want an apology. I want answers. I want a championship revoked. I don't care about the draft picks. Guess what they get to trot out there? A championship banner. What is this setting example for to our youth? Cheat, get away with it, say you're sorry, move on? We're in an age where we get politicians to come in and put their nose in things like a pass interference call and change the rules. And I don't even ask for that. I thought that was crazy. But to me, this is not crazy. It's cheating the game of baseball. The integrity of the game has been lost with this. And again, they're not allegations, folks. This has been proven. Players are talking about it. Chipper Jones tweeted about it, said he wants the players to talk, then he'll judge. Jeff Francoeur, I just heard an excerpt, but it sounds like he didn't really care. I don't know if that was a media-friendly answer or not. If I ever get to see him again from the Parkview community, I'll ask him. And I'll put it on this show. Let me know what you guys think. Give me a shout out on Twitter at JJGetYouOne. I'd love to hear y'all's opinions on this Astros championship. Is it the most tainted? Give me your thoughts. Give me your opinions. Folks, Dave did not join us tonight. I'm sure he had obligations with the university. No worries. Georgia State comes first. We understand. You can hear Dave on Georgia State's call for football, baseball, and basketball. Folks, if you want to call in next week, it'll be same time, same place. So I'm going to wrap the show up with a couple final thoughts here. Kobe Bryant, NBC Sports, said there are women that could play in the NBA. I retweeted the article. You can go check it out on the ATL Prime Sports Twitter handle. I don't know about that, Kobe. I don't know if there are women that can play in the NBA. Do they have the skill set to play in the NBA? Sure. Do they have the athleticism is the other thing. The size, the stamina, the physicality. With the way the NBA is nowadays, I do think women could play in the NBA. I don't know all of them. But if you read the article, it kind of, the NBC writer, and I'm not sure who it is, forgive me, wrote a quick little excerpt. And he's basically said Kobe's asinine for saying this, and he's trying to repair his image from his allegation earlier that was proven wrong. No, guy. I think Kobe really thinks some of these girls could ball in the NBA. He's one of the greatest NBA players on the planet. He could still go in the NBA and probably score 40 points right now. So, no, I don't think he's just doing this for a publicity stunt. I don't think he's just doing this just to say, hey, women can play in the NBA. No, I think he's factual about it. I think in three of the women he said, Elena Delle Donne, Diana Taurasi, and Maya Moore, I agree. I think they could play in the NBA today. You can't tell me any differently. They're not hard fouling. They're not hand checking. I think those girls could box out within the rules and play pretty good basketball with these men today. So I applaud you, Kobe Bryant, for saying that. I applaud you, Black Mamba. Thank you for saying that. Because I think these women in the WNBA, which I will watch this year because it's better than the NBA, in my opinion. It's my opinion, folks. I just don't like all the scoring. I like a little bit of defense. I like a little bit of physicality in the game. I like a little bit of finesse, a little fundamentals. So I think Kobe has a point. The fundamentals are there. You watch the WNBA, some of the skill set can transition over to the new NBA. Absolutely. I think the hardest part would be the three-point line. That'd be the biggest, most obvious obstacle to overcome. But hey, an obstacle can be overcome nonetheless. Folks, we'll be back same time, same place next week. Follow us on Twitter at ATL Prime Sports, at Quarter Todd, at JJGetYouOne, and at Mancini Sports. And, of course, for the one, the only ATL traffic lady for your Stephanie Stallworth. Check Stephanie Stallworth out every morning on 92.9 The Game, doing her daily traffic reports. TC, get better. Stay strong, my friend. We'll see you next week. Dave Cohen, we'll do rain check Dave Cohen for next week as well. hopefully we can bring on some more guests and keep this thing going. I want to thank our callers, Wayne and Lou, for joining in, chiming in on the Prime Sports line there, ATL Prime Sports. Well, folks, it's been a great show. I loved everything we talked about. I loved what Lou had his opinion on the brawl, Wayne's opinion on the brawl. I like Lou's opinion on Zion. Wayne, Lou, feel free to call in same time, same place next week. Eli Manning, hats off to a wonderful career. Thanks for the memories. Zion Williamson tips off his NBA career in a couple minutes versus Spurs. Feel free to tune in. If you want to see some high-flying action, I'm sure he's going to get limited minutes, but he'll probably do some cool things, his limited minutes. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. For Todd Quarter, for Stephanie Stallworth, for Mark Mancini, Breck Smith behind the boards, I'm JJ Djurdjevic. This is ATL Prime Sports. Folks, we'll see you next week. Check us out, www.primetimewiththestablesnetwork.com. Listen live and anytime right there. Again, primetimewiththestablesnetwork.com. For TC, for Stephanie, Mark Mancini, Breck behind the board, JJ Djurdjevic, ATL Prime Sports. Get you one. We are out. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen.